Oh, Baki. Oh, Baki. What's poppin'? You already know. It's my gun. I appreciate your continued patronage. Patronage. I appreciate you, Baki. How about that? Oh, Baki. Oh, Magic. Magic, I listened to your episode of the Splat podcast. Is that what Gus's podcast is called? I listened to the entirety of that episode. I was, Splat Talks, thank you. I listened to half of it while I was riding my bike and the other half while I walked the dog around the neighborhood. It was a good listen. And I recommend anybody check that out. Splat Talks. Just go to YouTube, type in Gus Splatoon, all one word, you'll usually find it. Some good stuff there. Bach, have you been going to Magic's little locals? I know you. I know you've met. I know you met Stu the announcer in the past, or Stu the announcer knew who you were, because you and your brother just destroyed everybody. Magic, can you help me real quick? The team name Work in Progress, are they now known as 120 degrees Fahrenheit? Okay. I think that answers my question, actually. I'm gonna go with yes. I would assume so, Baki. Everything's a work in progress. All right. Air sign, thank you. Air sign pays attention. Somebody pays attention to this tournament. Here's the real question. I'm not going to share. By the way, this is completely off topic. We talk about BNS like it was the greatest thing ever. Like it was this amazing tournament series that we all put up on this pedestal. If BNS were to run today, all of you would hate it. It was 6 rounds of Swiss, play all 4 into a top cut on a Friday night that started at 8 o'clock and ended at like 1 in the morning. You guys would riot if BNS was like the only thing you had to do on a Friday. But we think about it in the past and we're like, man, BNS was so awesome. BNS would not fly in today's competitive Splatoon. You guys would crucify it on Twitter. If you guys can't handle SOS, there's no way you would have been able to handle 6 rounds of play all 4 Swiss. What happens if I tie all of my opponents? I don't know. Just looking back through my book, and that was the first thing I saw. Bro, I know Tinder Defenders are an actual team. From like 2019. We'll never find it. Of this one, it's gonna be Starburst versus Alliance Rogue. Here's my hot take though. I believe whoever falls to the 3rd place match is not actually going to play it. I think somebody's gonna drop out of the 3rd place match, or it's just gonna become a meme fest because either one or both teams that make it there aren't going to care enough to actually try. That's my hot take. The 3rd place one's gonna be a total shit show. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are suggesting K-Bot back into +1 after he got voted out the past weekend, making generalizations about the entirety of another Splatfest team, even though you only played 0.0001% of their team. Asking Twitter what weapons you should play in a tourney match with 800 people watching you live. Whatever it is that you're doing right now. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. What a wild Saturday we had. That clip I just showed was the only thing I correctly predicted would take place on Saturday, other than Alliance Rogue beating Crush Soda, but even that was in doubt for a good chunk of time. Just a quick note before we get into things. The third place match, because I've seen some people tweet out like this is completely disrespectful to the TOs, and I understand why nobody would make an event for the Splatoon community anymore. I don't think it's that deep. Do I speak for the actual TOs of the event? No. Me personally, I thought it was hilarious. I think it probably should have just ended after that first set. I think they shouldn't have gone on to 2 more sets. I think somebody should have just stepped in and said, all right, to hell with this. Let's just move on. But that was content. That became something. The little bit we did with me eating some potato chips and everybody else is kind of looking dead. We were able to turn nothing into something there. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'll just say that. Courage did not win this Splatfest. I thought if there was ever going to rig a Splatfest, it would be this one. They would not let Power win it, like Ganondorf win it, like sweep, win every single category. Courage was in dead last in every single category. Least voted, least wins across every single section. Like it finished, the Courage could not have lost harder than what it did, which just proves the concept that in this world, the strong live and the weak perish. I'm glad Nintendo was able to just kind of let the natural order of things to be decided instead of rigging it to make sure the Link won. News of tournaments may be of interest to the casual listener to the podcast. It's Low Tide City Week, so there ain't a lot going on. You got SOS on Wednesday, you got Squid Junction on Saturday, and that's about it. I think there's like an EBTV thing going on, but there's not really a whole lot going on. Definitely nothing on Friday. Squid Junction's running a tournament during Low Tide City. Who cares? Who honestly cares? The whole world is not supposed to stop because there's a LAN going on in Texas. Like, if you can't go to that LAN, you should still be able to play something that weekend. Squid Junction seems to always run during a LAN, and I think that's a great thing, and I don't see any reason why anybody should say anything negative about that. I guarantee you, I don't know what date Dapple Productions LAN is going to be on, but I guarantee you, if Low Ink is in that same day or that same weekend, we're running right the hell over that sucker. We don't care. It's... just let people play, my goodness. Speaking of Low Ink, that is not this upcoming weekend. It is next weekend. So make sure you sign up for that. And it was just announced by the Overlords. There's going to be another Overlord tournament. The qualifiers leading into an event in Seattle, which I believe takes place a weekend before Riptide. The qualifiers start in June, and the weekend before Riptide, that would be like either the last week of August or the first week of September. So, good to see some more Overlord representation in the community. Today, we are going to be previewing Low Tide City for real this time. And I'm glad I took the extra week because I am going to say something about all 53 teams that signed up, even if that something in a couple of cases is I don't know anything about these players. I tried. I gave an honest to God attempt for every single team. The vast majority of them, I was able to find something to talk about. And there is all you collegiate cephalopod associationers in chat are going to be tickled to death with the college representation going on here at Low Tide City. A lot of college representation. Man, you talk about pushing the tournament back an extra week so that college can wrap up and all these kids don't have to worry about finals and all that stuff. Yeah, it paid off. Wow, did it pay off. So we'll talk about that. But first, look, we got a lot to discuss today. So let's, I was thinking about making a reference to Kentucky basketball or, well, I didn't really think much farther than that. But no, let's just get right into it. Nobody picked Jackpot to win, and they won. Congratulations to Jackpot. You finally did it. against all odds, against all history, all the past, Jackpot overcame everything, and they climbed the mountain. And they are now the team that is the best as far as the InkTV Resurgence League qualifier is concerned. Congratulations to them. Would anybody predict the Jackpot winning this tournament going into this one? Is it justifiable that everybody doubted Jackpot going into Saturday? Yeah, I think so. When you look at the mountain of evidence, especially with the fact that they had to play Starburst first, the record of Starburst versus those players head to head was abysmal at best, and just flat out ugly at worst. And there's the fact that they've never beaten them would give you a sense of like, okay, why would it happen this time around? And no, they didn't just beat Starburst. They dismissed them. They out Starburst. It turns out the secret Q was alluding to that they were going to use against Starburst was, let's just use double crab, double machine. Let's not use Stamper at all. And let's just beat them at their own game. And nobody's been able to do that. And lo and behold, as much as people in chat might not like it, a dub is a dub. And Jackpot was able to get it here. So all the narratives going into this weekend, it was all about Starburst and Alliance Rogue. And if you listened to the last episode of the Popcast, which I know you did, that's the main thing I was hyping up. And then Jackpot was just like this. Oh, like Jackpot might do something there. And they did a lot more than might. All the narratives that were going against them. They never beat Starburst before. Check. They got that out of the way. They played in the weaker group, so they didn't really get to play the tougher teams in this league yet. Check. They proved that wrong. They had the harder playoff run. They had to play Starburst and Alliance Rogue. They didn't get the half foot in, half foot out Crush Soda team in round one, which was very pesky for Alliance Rogue. And when I went back and looked at the qualifier that Jackpot was playing, I forgot about this. Jackpot did play Graveyard Shift in the winners qualifiers for the league, and they 3-0'd them. And Graveyard Shift was very pesky in the group that they played it. Now, a best of 5 single elimination versus 3 best of 3 sets is not congruent. It's apples to oranges, but it's still a victory against a team in the opposite group. So there, that narrative of the Jackpot just farming their group because it was weaker, that goes out the window as well. Jackpot only took 2 L's the entire league series. I believe K-Bot stated that they were 29-5 overall, including the qualifier. Most of those losses from the qualifier was because Leafy's power exploded for a little bit, and they had to have Sleepy sub in. Wake up, Sleepy. Hey, you need to help us qualify for this league. We're losing to some team called Bet in round 1 of winners finals. They're taking us to a game 5. That's where most of those 5 losses came from. Once they got into the league, they lost 1 singular game to Starburst and 1 singular game to Alliance Rogue. One of those losses coming on Starburst's best mode in tower control. The other one coming on Alliance Rogue best possible situation to win Splat Zone's Mako Mart with their carbon roller. That's what it took to beat Jackpot the past weekend. The other narrative being, hey, they beat Starburst. They finally did it. They finally got over this. They finally got that monkey off of their back. They don't have to worry about that anymore. Are they going to be hung over from that, though, knowing that now they have to go in and actually win the whole league? Well, no, that narrative didn't really pan out either. So Jackpot just peaked at the right time. And it comes down to how well are you playing that day. And over the course of the league, you have to play well 4 separate days to advance. But you can screw up a little bit in the league standings and be just fine. That's what we thought was going to be the case for Starburst. But no, it came down to who played the best on that Sunday only. And Jackpot peaked at the perfect time. They saved their best platoon for the playoffs. And when you start to think about, we transitioned into Alliance Rogue a little bit, and you start to reflect on everybody now that the league is over. Alliance Rogue, even though they finished second place in the league, they beat Starburst, barely scratch and claw, but they get the title of being the first team to beat Starburst. Alliance Rogue never really had a dominant match during the league session. Now, they were untouchable during the qualifier. I don't think they dropped a single game in the qualifier. But every match they played in the league, they were looking really not as dominant as you would. It's just more of like a survive and advance kind of thing. Graveyard Shift almost got them. Penguin should have taken at least one set off of them. Really should have taken that Splat Zone set away from them, but they didn't. And obviously, what they did against Starburst was still very impressive, but was nowhere near as easy as it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be easy to beat Starburst. And then since they beat Starburst, they get the reward of playing Crush Soda in week 1. And Crush Soda's like, bro, if we win one game, we're just going to be happy about it. You got Keo being like, I don't know, power of friendship or something like that. Like Keo spent most of that time in the interview hyping up other teams outside of Crush Soda. And you would think, all right, Alliance Rogue is just going to do what Jackpot did to them last week, which is stomp the daylights out of them. And no, it was anything but that. There was several moments and several times where Crush Soda won one game. They should have found a way to hold on and win that Rainmaker Hagglefish game and didn't. But it's the fact that Alliance Rogue was supposed to blow them out and really awkwardly struggled against them that makes you think like, oh, they're not feeling that good today, or they're not playing their best today, or something's just like they're just a little bit sluggish, a little bit behind. They don't need to be wasting time with Crush Soda here. But that's just the thing they've been dealing with all season long. When you take it in that context, you look back at all the matches they played, they were never really that dominant, but they just kept finding ways to win. They were scrappy until you got to Jackpot, who just said, nah, we're gonna take care of that one. I don't think it's a time zone excuse thing either. They're used to playing at Saturdays at that time anyways. It wasn't like it was an obscure time. And I mean, it's obviously later for them than it was for Jackpot by the time they got to that grand finals, but it's still a time zone they're used to playing at before. I don't really buy into that narrative of it being an issue. I saw Jared tweet this out a little bit later on Saturday about basically saying that Alliance Rogue built their play style around Volty, and that's a double-edged sword to an extent, because if Volty doesn't have a good day, then you're pretty much just screwed in that situation. And I'm not a VOD reviewer. I don't have time. I'm sure there's several people that have already gone back and like broken down like the Alliance Rogue Jackpot set. Now, I'm not sitting here saying Volty played bad or anything like that. I think Jackpot was just better. I think they knew how to deal with that carbon roller. And I think as Alliance Rogue goes on, I think more players and teams are going to get like a good feel for kind of how, okay, this is how we move around this team, because they're showing you something you're not used to seeing, especially at that level. But as you start to adapt to what that carbon is doing, maybe the novelty of Alliance Rogue might wane down a little bit, or they have to make some sort of adjustment. I don't know. It reminds me of the mid-2000s in the NFL when the Miami Dolphins used this Wildcat offense, and it was so crazy at the time. You just snapped the ball to the quarterback, straight to the running back instead of the quarterback. And for like an entire season, the Miami Dolphins did that one in particular thing a lot, and it caught everybody off guard, and they had a lot of success with it. However, the next season, after everybody had a full year to kind of game plan and figure it out, the Wildcat goes away, and you see it like once every now and then. But that's kind of what I think of when I think of Alliance Rogue. I think initially people see the carbon and they see how Alliance Rogue activates the carbon, and they don't really know how to deal with it. But then as time goes on, they start to figure things out okay, maybe we can just kind of like negate what they're kind of do. At the end of the day, it all goes back to double crab, double machine. How sad is that? But that is yet to be seen. Alas, Jackpot sits atop the mountaintop and now have a major win under their belt. But we don't care about that, do we? Yes, we care about it on Saturday. But what's the first thing that pops into your mind now? Well, what's next? We can't sit here and appreciate it. We want to, okay, well, when are they going to play again? What are they going to do now? It's always next. GG's go next. It's not GG's sit back and reflect and enjoy life, which is what Jackpot should be doing. The journey they've had since back in Splatoon 2 to get up to this point, I honestly would much rather just not see Jackpot play for like 3 weeks just so they can just take a victory lap and enjoy everything that happened right here. But what's next for them? That's why you can't do the podcast business unless you just keep the conversation going. As I mentioned before, the Overlord tournament is coming back, and that's a great thing for a team that is playing in North America because they want to be on that grind. Jackpot has never won an Overlord tournament. In fact, nobody outside of Starburst has won an Overlord tournament. If you're wondering what I mean by Overlord tournament, it's the Nintendo tournament. They are ultimately are overlords here that could come down at any point and obliterate all of us. Instead, they just kind of float around and watch us and make sure we're doing our jobs right, which we are. We're not poking any bears. I'd like to see them win that one, though. I'd like to see Starburst and Jackpot play against each other in grand finals and Jackpot win that one in Seattle in September or late October, August, I guess, is whenever that is. Of course, there's some other things coming down the pipe. Some things I don't know about. Some things I do know about. Nothing I'm going to be leaking at this time, obviously. But if they were to play in some tournament coming up, a major coming up, who would, let's say all these teams. Let's say there's a 20XX that takes place next month or whenever. And Starburst, Alliance Rogue, and Jackpot all sign up. How do you seed them now? That's the question, right? Because there's a difference between where you would rank teams and where you would seed teams. Do you still see Starburst ahead of everybody because of their past? The fact that they've had a chokehold on the competitive scene for almost a full year to this point. Well, if you date back to when they finally wrestled a win away from not FT win at Riptide, the first Riptide, you could say it's been even longer than that. Do you still put Starburst at the top? I think yes. I think you have to. I don't think one tournament result, as good of a tournament result as this is enough to erase all the mountains and the insane amounts of copies of ARMS that Starburst has to all these things. Again, Starburst's head-to-head record against all these other teams is still hilariously abysmal in their favor. But I think Jackpot's a clear number 2. Every time Jackpot's been playing Alliance Rogue, it seems like they're still finding ways to beat him. They beat him in 4v4 Sundays. Obviously, they beat him 2 days ago a lot more comfortably. And again, the more they see Alliance Rogue, the more they see Volti, the Carbon Roller, the more comfortable, obviously, they're going to be in those kinds of situations. And I don't know. And I feel like Jackpot really played well for this tournament. I feel like the format and the rules built around this tournament that made it unique and different from every other major that you see in the community. I feel like Jackpot played this one a lot better than everybody else, and they talked about that when Madness got in on the interview. They were like, "Yeah, we scrimmed these maps literally every single day." Like, these guys are probably really good at flounder zones, and it sucks because they're probably never going to see that much in the future, but they're really damn good at flounder zones. because they scrimmed it nonstop. And they were good. I mean, they were, I guess, just kind of fortunate that they won some coin flips. I think they won the coin flip against Nightmare and said, we don't care. Like, you guys get to pick the map that we're going to bury your bodies in, kind of thing. But they had like a game plan for everything. I'm not saying the other teams didn't have a game plan, but I think Jackpot grinded out for this tournament specifically more than anybody else did. That's why I joked and said that they wanted it more, because in this context, they kind of did when you think about it from a non-silly point of stance. Is that same thing going to translate to other tournaments, though? If you go to a major and you have to play these teams back to back to back and you don't know who you're going to play and you don't have a whole week to scout them out, is Jackpot still going to be this dominant? And oh, by the way, here comes the Comet in the middle of like quarterfinals, or here comes the Kings in like a semifinals matchup. These teams from Japan that you got to mix in, that you probably you've played against them before, but just not like you've grinded out scrim specifically to beat Comet. You've been trying to beat Starburst and Alliance Rogue this whole time. That's a little bit of a curveball that gets thrown in there. So that's why I'm curious to see how these things turn out in the future. But let's stop talking about the future. Let's start reversing course here. Let's talk about InkTV, because without this league, we would not have learned so much. As a community, we've learned and all have grown dramatically because of what we saw in this InkTV league thing. Let's pretend the league didn't happen. We didn't have the InkTV league. Here's the things that are still going to be around. First off, Starburst is still undefeated. And we're sitting here and we're talking about, oh, nobody's even come close to Starburst. The last time you saw them play up to this point was probably still at PAX, where they absolutely curb stomped Sayonara and snuffed the life out of them. They're gone. That's where we'd be today with at the InkTV League. We'd have less EU versus NA matchups. We saw a lot of EU versus NA in the qualifier and in the league, and that's good. Anytime those two regions get an actual good look at each other and we get to square up, put on the boxing gloves, and argue well what a biscuit actually is, I think that's a good thing. And we saw a lot more of that in this league. The more teams, InkTV kind of sped up some of these teams disbanding. There were some teams that were clearly, once they didn't qualify for the league, they were like, yeah, this is time. Like, we can't invest as much of our time in life into this anymore. We need to disband. I wonder if some of those teams are still around today. And I'm not saying like that's a good thing. I feel like InkTV was the excuse some of those teams needed to finally say, yeah, we just need to pull the plug on this thing. We're kind of done here. And more importantly, if InkTV doesn't exist, we would not have learned how to put on a good product. For people like me and several others that were involved in InkTV that had no connection to Tassel and don't really come from any other esport background, this was eye-opening for a lot of us. Like, we learned how to make content, the importance of interviews. You talk about that Pass the Clam thing. That was awesome that we did last Thursday, despite the technical issues. Once we got that figured, but even then, like, figuring out those technical issues is just another thing that you start to realize as you're going through this process. All the production people behind the scenes that got a good hand into this kind of thing. It's eye-opening, and that is very important, that a whole lot of people connected in this community now have that experience underneath their belts. And on a personal note, just for me speaking out about myself, it was just great being involved in something where there's a bunch of other people that are also in their 30s. It's that's not to say like, that's not a shot at anybody. I'm just saying it's not often that I'm in some sort of TOing VC or something like that where I am not the oldest person in that VC by a decade and a half sometimes. And, it's good. Like, raising the next generation of TOs is important. And we got a lot of great talent coming up. Brush is somebody we've highlighted in the InkTV cast. Brush is the future of competitive Splatoon broadcasting. Think about it. That guy is... we spent a lot of time clowning on Brush, but Brush is doing all these things at an age where most people are learning how to drive a car without their parent in the side seat. Like, this is... It's good that we got a lot of young people involved, but just me personally, just being in a VC with a bunch of other people that are like old, quote unquote, it was just refreshing for me. And I wasn't even the oldest person there. Spoon got me by a couple of months, actually. So that's nice to see. Yeah, I'm still 32, Spoon. I'll be 33 next month. You old fart. And with all that being said, and like I said on the beginning of the broadcast on Saturday, the real winner in this is all of us. Me, you, the idiots in chat, the people who watch this VOD on YouTube who I actually like. We are all the winners here. From now on, when we move forward and we see a tournament, Jackpot is no longer a team that's just a placeholder. Hey, we need another team that can play the can they beat Starburst this time role? Who's it going to be this time? Crush Soda? No, they're just, Jackpot. Let's just stick Jackpot in there. They're a fine, like, semifinal matchup before Starburst eventually loses to a team from Japan. No! Now when we see that matchup again, Jackpot probably goes into that one as a slight favorite based off of what happened the last time those two teams played. That's awesome. That's great for the Jackpot players. It's great for us. Actual parity. Can you believe it? Nobody's fantasy bracket from the InkTV League was correct. Nobody's bracket was correct. You know how bizarre that is? There was a point where I was 11-1 in my predictions. And so many other people on the broadcasting side of things that made predictions were also 11-1. Like, this tournament was so easy to predict. And then Saturday happened. And nobody predicted. None of the panelists picked Jackpot to win. Some of them picked Jackpot to beat Starburst, but everyone that picked Jackpot to beat Starburst automatically picked them to lose to Alliance Rogue immediately into the grand finals. Parity at top level. We haven't seen that. I don't know when the last time was that we had actual parity where it wasn't just FT-Win, Kings, Starburst. These are exciting times. We all win. And without InkTV, we are having a completely different conversation today. So thank you, InkTV, and congrats once again to the slot machines on winning your first major championship. Hopefully one of many to come. Cheers to you. By the way, don't actually play a slot machine. Those things are pretty much scams. You're never going to hit the jackpot on that thing. All right. We got a lot of low tide city teams to talk about. Can't linger on too much. Let's keep this train a-moving. It's time for the weekly recap. SOS number 107 took place last Wednesday. Choo Choo, parentheses, continued, was the team that won this one. Basically a nightmare pickup for the most part. They like have one player that subs in for them and they just come out with a name they pull out of their ass. I guess in case they don't win the tournament or something. But when they do, it sounds dumb when I'm sitting here saying Choo Choo won SOS number 107 instead of Nightmare. The team that finished in second place was a team that had 5 question marks in their name. Baja Blast, Woomy, Trout, Chris, and Rydia. The ballpoint, usually ballpoint, sometimes does remix flat lane player, finished in second place. Schmoothie who's going to be giving me a jersey at Low Tide City. They finished in third place. A lot of teams were playing in the last SOS grinding for Low Tide City, and I would assume a lot more are going to be signing up in SOS 108, looking to do the same exact thing just a few days before Low Tide City starts. Hammerhead bracket was won by Swag, and Mako bracket was won by Banana Split. I see you guys. One of the, I believe the team that won the Div 1 of the Collegiate Cephalopod Association League. Nicely done, Banana Split. Proving Grounds number 12 was won by Inspirational Gameplay. Wowzers finished in second place, and Decay came in third. That is the second time that Decay has come in third place in Proving Grounds, and I believe they also finished third or second in Squid Junction just the week before that one. Interestingly enough, despite the fantastic results from the players of Decay, I saw some tweets out that none of the members from Decay made it into a single plus server this past weekend. I don't feel bad about anybody not getting into the plus server. I really don't care. But that just proves that it's not just about skill level. And I understand networking goes all involved into these kinds of things. It's not just like a skill-based kind of thing. But if you want proof that it's not just a skill-based kind of thing, Decay finishing in third, second, and third in Proving Grounds, Squid Junction, and Proving Grounds again, and not a single player gets into the plus server. What are we doing here? Network a little bit better, I guess. But again, I don't care about the plus servers. That's something you high schoolers have to worry about. And K-Bot apparently got voted out. That is hilarious. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Megalodon Cup number 11. The Splat Zone edition was won by the Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. If you are new to Splatoon 3 and you don't know what Triggerfish Zones is, don't worry. Don't worry. You'll never play it a day in your life, I promise you. You don't want to. Don't listen to these jackasses. But hey, they won a tournament. Nicely done to them. Happy birthday, Caden! Came in second place, and Lemon Drops took third. 23 teams played in this tournament that took place at the same exact time as the InkTV playoffs did on Saturday. They even had a stream, which is good. It proves that we can have major events go on, and at the same time, if people aren't playing in those major events, they still want to play an event, they can. Now, Megalodon's going to have nobody watch their stream, but it didn't hinder InkTV at all. At all. Inclusiveness, kind of. Everybody gets to play, and InkTV wasn't hindered at all. Nicely done, Megalodon Cup. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by Veggie Straws. So a lot of people were asking me what I was munching on during the analyst recap of the third round match. It was Veggie Straws. More specifically, the Zesty Ranch flavor of the Veggie Straws. I find them pretty tasty. The problem in the Pop Gun household is that my wife found them first, and she's a big fan of eating things that she knows I doesn't like, because sometimes I tend to eat a lot of snacks, and now that she knows I like those things, it's not a good time. So unfortunate for her, but Veggie Straws, the official sponsor of this week's episode of the weekly recap. Wow, lies in chat. Never thought I'd see the day. Oh my gosh, we got 53 teams to talk about, and I'm out of water. This is gonna suck. Low Tide City, the second Low Tide City. It was announced by Siren on the Proving Grounds 12 broadcast that this Low Tide City, this upcoming weekend, is officially the biggest Splatoon LAN in North America ever, as far as people attending it are concerned. That beats out, I believe, Smash and Splash 5, if not Smash and Splash 4. I don't know the exact numbers of what Smash and Splash 4 or 5 was. I did see the graphic, and then I saw somebody tweet out a little bit after, like, oh, this graphic might not be accurate based off some things. So whatever. It's a giant-ass LAN. There's a lot of people going to this thing. 53 teams are playing. 233 people are attending. That's about a third of the entire population of people that are playing in Low Tide City. We're about half the size of the Smash group at this point. That is impressive. And that doesn't include the spectators, by the way. The spectators don't show up over that thing. So who knows how many spectators? I know there's at least one in chat right now who's going as a spectator technically, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of people here for Splatoon. It's going to be, I can't picture it in my head because I'm so used to seeing like what a big Splatoon LAN looks like. It's just Riptide, but this is going to be bigger than Riptide. I can't really wrap my head around that. And by the way, how do you get bigger than this? Like logistically speaking, how do you get bigger than that? Like the amount of equipment you need just to play one game of competitive Splatoon between two players at a LAN is hilarious. So like, how do you, if this were to get much bigger, like you're running out of space, you're running out of equipment. There's only so many like switches and docks and monitors and connecting cables and the extra equipment you need. There's only so many TM1s that actually function without blowing your eardrums out at this point. It's good I'm not a TO and I just get to sit here and talk about it. But man, bless your heart, TOs. This is it's a good problem to have, I guess. But yeah, that is a lot of people. I have no clue what the format is going to be. I think it's like still going to be the traditional thing, but still, again, when you're limited with stations and you got a bunch of people need to play, I'm assuming they're just going to be playing from sun up to sundown, Saturday to Sunday, just to get those things in. And I'm sure that like the groups and all that stuff will be released at some point this week. The advice that I have to give, I'll give you guys some advice before we get to the teams. First off, this is a social event. Yes, there is a tournament attached to this. Spoiler alert, the Starburst is here and they're going to win it and you guys are not. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be playing for placements or results, or maybe one of your rival teams from Low Ink or something are playing in this one. There are a lot of Low Ink eligible players that are playing in this one. There's still a lot of fun to be had from playing the game, but make no bones about it. You are here for a social event. You are here to meet other people within the community and do that networking you need to get into one of the plus servers, I guess. So talk to people. And here's how you talk to people. This is the biggest pet peeve I have, is when people will come up to me and they'll say, "Pop gun." And I'm like, yeah, I know who I am. Who the hell are you? Look, guys, I understand. My face is out here once a week. I have some noticeable features about myself that make me stand out a little bit amongst a crowd. The sooner you can spit your name out of your mouth when you're introducing yourself to someone, the better. Because I know who I am, but I have no clue who any of you are. And if I've seen you before, it's probably been a while since I've registered your face in one of these parts of my brain. Tell people what your name is, or better yet, have like a name tag somewhere. I wouldn't recommend putting your name on the badge, like buying to have the name on the badge, because if you have any special characters, sometimes it comes out looking like hieroglyphics. But just let people know what your name is, or have your name somewhere. It allows people to have conversations with you quicker. Triton, I know who you are. You're exempt from that. We've been to a bar together. Come on. Eat salads as often as you can. Eat salads as often as you can. You cannot... I can't stress this enough. There are going to be a lot of times, especially during the tournament, where you are stuck having no situation but to eat a $15 burger. So you're not going to get a lot of good quality food in you during the tournament. So whenever you're in that situation to where you can eat something light and fresh and healthy, do that. Stuff your face with lettuce before the event because you're going to be eating a lot of burgers and pizza over the course of the weekend. When you meet somebody and you want to introduce, look, a lot of you suck at this. Hold on. The greeting, I like a good hand clap to the backpack thing. So I have my, as a demonstration, here's my son's teddy bear. And son, when you're watching this in the future, this was before you were born. So I didn't just like rip this out of your hands. You weren't around to see this guy yet. So this is you guys. The bear is you guys, and I am me. Here's how we go. You throw your hand out, and I throw my hand out, and we go like this. And we claps the hand, and then we bring it in. I give you a few pats. You give me a few pats, and we're like, "What's up, man? How's it going? How you doing, man? I haven't seen you since it." Like it. You guys really suck at that. A lot of you really suck at that interaction. There's an example of how to do it. Go with that, okay? But a lot of you really suck at the bro hug. It's unacceptable. Most importantly, though, shelter in place right now. Do not catch COVID. Do not leave. Don't talk to anybody. Don't look at people. Make sure you are isolating yourself. You do not want to get sick right before this thing. You don't want to miss your flight. You don't want to fail the little radar gun thing they have at the venue. And make sure you bring your COVID passport with you. A lot of people might forget to do that. And most of the time they accept it if you take a picture of it on your phone. I think that's what I do. I'll bring my card with me anyways, but I always have it on my phone in case I don't have it. So like, make sure you got those things. Lastly, do not hide. This is a social event. Yes, I'm an introvert. I get worn down really, really quickly in social situations. It's nice to have a hotel room at the actual venue. And if you need to just like disappear for an hour to like recollect yourself, do that. But if you want to actually meet some people, especially as you're going in on Friday, here's what you should do. At that venue specifically, if you've been to Riptide, they have that, like the opening place is just a giant mess. And there's like a seating area deep hidden behind. There's like 2 couches or something. At Low Tide City's venue, as soon as you walk into the main lobby of the hotel or the resort or whatever, there's like 100 couches just right there. And if you just want to just like sit and wait for people, just sit there. Eventually somebody you know or recognize will be there. And if you see me and you recognize me, feel free to come up and talk to me. Again, bro hug, claps, pull in, backpack, tell me what your name is. We'll have a conversation. Don't feel intimidated to do that. It's a social event, guys. Be here to talk. Meet some people. Sign some posters. Now, you're probably sitting here wondering, but Popgun, who are all these people I'm going to meet? We're going to look at every single one of them. Let's get into this. 53 teams. Can we knock this out in the time before the sun goes down? Good golly, Miss Molly. Let's take a shot at it. Where is this the correct screen? We got it. All right. Now, bear with me here. The order that the teams appear here might not line up with the order that I wrote them down as I was doing this last week. So we might have to bounce around a little bit. First off, we are going with Octopi. Octopi is going to be playing here. If you're wondering who Octopi is, this is an actual team. They played in Low Ink. They won Little Squid League most recently. By the way, I think there's going to be some Little Squid League swag at the venue. But they finished in 3rd place in the most recent Low Ink. Octopi is going to be here. I love it when actual teams are here, so that's exciting. Now, they're rolling in 6 players deep. You usually don't go to a LAN with more than 4, so I don't really know how that's going to work out, but we'll see. Did I not filter already? No, you're right. Okay, so we missed that one. Thank you, AirSign. Okay, so I think I went down and up. I don't know. I'm just going to have to go across here and try to make this work. Hamiko. You got Hayden from Access Denied. Ombre, this is the Satan, not the Satan I was thinking of another team, but this is the Satan that's been, I believe, at every single LAN I don't think Satan was at the last Riptide, actually, though, but Satan's been pretty much everywhere. And Black Wolf, we are excited to meet Black Wolf. Black Wolf could not make it to Riptide because they got COVID right before they got onto this flight. This is why I'm telling you guys, stay safe this week. You don't want to be in this situation, but I'm happy that Black Wolf's able to go to this one. Super excited to meet them. They got a pretty solid squad coming up here as well. Cheeseboard. And this is where things don't line up exactly. The only thing I have to say about this Cheeseboard team is hello, Kello. And I only recognize this because this cat is in my living room. We have one of those calendars that has this cat in it, and I look at it every day. And when I saw this, I instantly made the realization of who this is. So that's the only thing I have to say about Cheeseboard. Rip. Salmon Slayers. This is Undershirt Man, and I don't know who Undershirt Man is, but I have rated them several times after a podcast, especially when I did like those 12 o'clock episodes instead of the 6 o'clock ones. So Undershirt Man, who maybe some of you probably know, are here representing this team of the Salmon Slayers. And that's what I got to say about them. Nightbreak. UCCA, guys. You should know who this team is. And I put 2 and 2 together. I figured out who these guys were before I had to go back and do deep dive into them. So there are 2 teams from the University of Austin, Texas, Hook'em Horns. Nightfall and Daybreak. So you got Nightbreak here with all those players representing Texas. It makes sense. They don't have to go anywhere. They live, I'm assuming, in Austin, Texas. So they don't even need to get a venue. They can just drive there from their house probably. Now, it's understandable with college being over. I'm assuming some of those guys don't even live there, so they might have just gone back. But still, it would have been weird if there wasn't some UT representation at this event, and you got it right here, Nightbreak. Texas fight, and it's goodbye to A&M. They're going to have to play at some point the UCSD Esports Gold. And this, we'll count these out. I didn't count out how many college teams there are, but this is the second one. So we're at 2. UCSD Esports Gold, these guys were Div 1 in CCA, and a lot of these players have been playing in low ink. This is not the Woomy that's on Ink Bashers. This is the Woomy that's on the CD team. Goat Child, I believe, is a Charger player as well. I want to say they've been playing in low ink as well. CD's nuts. Booyah hoy. This is Sir Skit and the Super Chumps, and I believe this is the same exact team that Sir Skit played with at the last Low Tide City. And they made redemption brackets. I wish Sir Skit was playing with my team. It would have made sense. Destiny Troop member would have taken my spot, so I don't have to play. But still, boy ahoy! Now that I've taken a 4th attempt at saying it, I believe is correct right there. Good to see the Skitter Muffins playing in this event yet again. Clean Bathtub. Now there was a team called Tub, TUB. And I asked Magic, what does TUB stand for? Because it's spelled out right here with apostrophe. So it's an anagram for something. And Magic said it stands for tub. So there you go. That's what we got out of that. Pretty much some of the same players. I remember Praise the Sunny D having this long name. Tub wasn't seeded to do well in their group. And I believe they won their group. I think they skipped Redemption Bracket last time they played in Low Tide City. So this should be a strong team going forward. The Jelly Squids. Good old-fashioned Jelly Squids. And as I pull up this roster of 5 here, these are all the natural Jelly Squid players. No subs, no anything weird like this. This is just good old, nice, meaty Jelly Squids. Low ink team that's been around for a long time. And you love seeing it when teams have been around for a long, long time. And I don't know if this is their first LAN or not. You see, they've been playing since March of 2021 for almost 2 years. But when you've been playing with your teammates for over 2 years, this might be the first time they actually get to see each other in person, which is exciting. Jelly Squids should do some damage here in the silver. No. They'll probably get above silver. They'll probably make redemption bracket, depending on what their group is. Dragon Fruit, Fusion, Marsh are not playing with Magic and Lily this time around. Instead, they dropped them and picked up Lux, Hope, and Risa. A nice 5 solid player squad right here. This team should be pretty good. I don't know if Marsh is still doing Dapple shenanigans or whatnot. But Fusion's still playing the game pretty actively. And this is another one of those scenarios where you just hope Dragon Fruit doesn't have to play a set after like Fusion and Risa commentate a whole block together so they can actually get the warm up. That's why we kind of were able to catch them off guard when Fish and Chips played last time. But they got a bunch of they do have a couple of subs ready to go here in case I'm assuming that's why they got 5 players to try to help mediate that kind of issue if it were to happen again. College team number 3, UCSD Esports Navy. The Navy edition. Not too familiar with these players. Is this the sauce that is related to Ink in the System? I know there's like several different sauces, and I know there isn't a sauce on Ink in the System, but I know that's the only sauce I can think of when it comes to this. The Navy squad is a Div 4 CCA team. Again, San Diego showing out strong right here. With all these college teams, honestly, I hope there's some sort of like college, like their college is actually like helping them get here, like maybe paying for the registration fee or something like that. That's something I'll talk with. When I meet all these teams. I'm excited to meet all the college teams. Really excited. Uh-oh. Look who's rolling up here. It's not Blush. It's old Schmoothy. And I've been watching these guys. They scrimmed Alliance Rogue. Last Resort last night. They've been grinding. They've been grinding with Cherry Limeade as well. They've been playing in SOS. They're looking pretty good. Is Smoothie going to finish in second place this time around like some of these players did last time? I don't know. There's some strong teams here. But I will say the teams that are contending for that second place are all there's not going to be any surprises. Like, I like the fact that Smoothie is grinding against Last Resort and Scrims because that's going to be their main opponent for that second place spot. And I do, Balloon, you got that jersey for me. I paid for it. You better bring it. I got that adult medium. Excited to see Smoothie there. And always, of course, I'm the biggest fan of Hayo on this planet. Be rooting for that guy. Unless I got to play them. Man, we got 4 more tabs to go. For UCSD, yes, most of the trip was paid for the university. Nice! Still some amount coming out of the pocket. Well, I mean, that's fair. I would assume it wouldn't be like 100% cost, especially with flights from California to Texas. But still, the fact that the university is ponying up something for a Splatoon team to travel to an event like this is that's nice to see. That's really nice to see. Business casualties. And I'm assuming they're calling themselves this because when Genie plays at a LAN, they're usually wearing some sort of like suit and tie, especially when they're playing. So I'm assuming that we're going to see some drip coming out of this team. DRF finished in 4th. DRF, what was that? 4th place at Riptide with the Ink Lawyers. So this is going to be a pretty solid team coming out of here. And when you look at all the low ink / casual players that are playing in this one, a team like the Business Casualty is going to do pretty good. Tinder Defenders. I swear this is an actual team from like 2019. I got my Destiny Troops booklet that shows everything we've done since 2018. Since then, I couldn't find it, but I'm serious that I'm pretty sure we played a Tinder Defender team a long time ago. Yeah, Sam, I would be surprised if the Grillers didn't way back in the day either. They did play. I did look up one of these players. They did play in a coast to coast tournament, which was like season 1 of SAC when they used start.gg. So These players have played in the past before, but I feel like Tinder Defenders was an actual team. I just couldn't find the exact information on that. We'll see how they do. Feel Good Inc. Now, I have it on good authority that there are some Smash players that are playing in this event for Splatoon. The last time there were some Smash players that played at Riptide and they didn't bring headphones. Like 2 of them just connected their AirPods, like their like connected AirPods into this one, and the other 2 just didn't have audio, so they just didn't vocalize with each other. I do not know if these guys are the Smash team or not. I got like 4 teams I know absolutely nothing about. These are one of them teams. So if anybody in chat knows anything about these guys, feel free to pipe up about it. But I'm going to assume that these guys might be the Smash team. If not, there's a couple other teams we'll get to when we get to that. On SU, it's college team number 4, I believe, representing the Ohio State University. Get over yourselves. Octos in Squids, the Div 2 team. These guys do play in low ink, I feel like, as well. Good to see them making the trip out there. Big Gay, right in your face. Nicely done right there on SU. We'll see you guys going forward. I'm not even going to try. Trim. Initially, I didn't recognize who these players were, but then I was looking at it and I was like, I know who these guys are. I recognize this little logo here. This is C Drive, at least from 49ers. And Inbound plays in some low ink shenanigans stuff as well. So this is a low inkish level pickup from it's just some sort of DNA thing, I'm assuming right there. But I'm glad that teams have tags I can recognize. There's C Drive. C Drive's really good, by the way. I don't think they played last low ink, but they did decently well in alpha bracket, if I recall correctly last time. There was a tweet out when the Ica Empire was out, and it said, "We're so tired of people mispronouncing our team name. It's pronounced like this." And I bookmarked it, and I haven't gone back and looked at it. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, and if so, I'm sorry, Battle Girl Dimples, who doesn't appear to be playing with this team anyways. The Ica no KO. There's Triton Splatoon making a little Ika. Oh, damn it. Ika no KO making their representation right here. My bad, Triton. My bad. We got it right there. Triton was the person holding up the play lowing sign that sent chat into a tizzy, I guess you could say, at Big House. Excited to see what they do here. Initially, I did not know anything about Sugar Rush. I was like, okay, this is probably just some Smash players or something like that. But then one player caught my eye. I was like, wait a minute. Junkie plays for Decay. That is the opening Gambit Octobrush player for Decay. So I was like, oh, wait, this team might actually be pretty good. I don't know anything about the other 3 players. I'm assuming they're actual competitive players. Look, guys, I don't know everybody in this scene. But just the fact that they got a solid opening Gambit Brush player that finishes 2nd and 3rd place in Squid Junction Improving Grounds, that alone makes me think this team might be pretty good. Keep an eye on them. These players I do actually recognize, though. Opie, Gorilla, Alley Cat, and Pico. This team, $17. Should be a pretty strong team as well. And if you're Gorilla, I'm assuming you're pretty excited about the fact that 52 Deco is actually kind of decent now. If Melon can use it, I'm assuming somebody who's been using Gal can enjoy it as well. Did I say 52? I meant 96. Six-pack yolks. Again, this is another one of those teams where I don't know. And I actually did look at their I didn't really look at their Discords. By the way, I realized I might be doxing some of these people just by pulling this up. That's a start.gg thing. That's weird that you can just make sure you guys don't have your full names listed on here. I had my full name listed on here before and I changed it. You might see my first name pop up here, but yeah, I don't know anything about these guys. This could be the Smash team. That's how I learned about Sir Skit's real name, is because of the thing or whatever. Vermilion Tides. Actually, not Vermilion Tides. It's the Benthic Brigade. Actually, no, it's neither one of those teams. It's Vermilion Brigade that's going on here. This is a pickup of Vermilion Tides and Benthic Brigade. If you're wondering who Vermilion Tides are, ding, 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 it's yet another college team. So there's 5 college teams now that we got here. And Benthic Brigade, pronounced Benthic Brigade, is a low ink level team. I mean, Vermilion Tides, low ink team as well. But as you can see here, I like it when teams actually put stuff like this. It helps people out. No, I don't want to click that. That means I got to go. Oh, it's going to take me forever to get that set back up. I hate starts.gg. While we're getting that reloaded, Vermilion Brigade should do decently well in this tournament because they got some pretty good players on it. Benthic is pretty good as far as low ink is concerned. They're getting better all the time. Teams, events, Splatoon 3. Go back. And we're back. Wrong screen there. Big Muscles. Rose air sign. The air sign pickup of the month. Now in land form. Air sign's going to be playing with Rose this time around. I'm excited to meet Rose. Rose is pretty cool. At least I get the sense that Rose is going to be pretty cool. I'm assuming this is going to be their first LAN. Airsign played at the last Low Tide City, and I believe Airsign was at Shine as well. So a experienced journey person when it comes to LANs. Sorry, I don't know much about these other 2 players, but whenever a commentator says they don't know much about somebody else, they're like, oh, I'm really interested to see what they're going to do. The air sign pickup of the month, Big Muscles this time around. Hey, at least I'm not making or pointing out the fact that you are a fellow 30-plus person. There are going to be several fellow 30-plus persons at these events. That's nice to see. 120 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the team I believe that used to go by work in progress when I wrote them down on my sheet last week, and now they are just 120 degrees Fahrenheit. What is significant about that number? Is that the number where, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to embarrass myself with the lack of science stuff here. 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't know anything about these guys other than they're pretty hot. Let's go with that. This could be the Smash team. Hey, here's some teams. This is going to be a good little sheet right here. I think I got something to say about all these guys. The Whip Rays, Sofa King, the LSL's team, Low Ink team. Good to see these guys playing. I don't know if this is the same exact roster, but we do know that Sofa King is actually playing in this one. And we're excited to see that. Got to hang out with him a little bit at the Ohio LAN back in December. And the confirmation in chat from our source Falco is saying that this is not the same exact team, but still, these guys were scrappy. Tony was scrappy at the Ohio LAN, as well as that whole team that they played with, but that's obviously a different one. Here we go. In Control, Red Sun. Don't just call them Red Sun, because the last time they played in LAN, they were Red Sun. This time around, they are now In Control, Red Sun. Get that sponsor name in there. Red Control, Red Control, Red Sun. Finished in second place at Riptide last time. Are they going to finish in second place this time around? I don't know. Dan the Man is not playing for them, playing for Smoothie, and they've subbed in Crimson Shadows to take the place. But Beam, Nice, and Admir, I believe, were all representative of that roster last time anyways. So this still should be a pretty solid team. I don't know if they can capture that same kind of magic that they had back in Ohio anyways. Spicy Octo Sandwich. And we're stalling. Oh, I don't know much about these guys either. However, I did find that one of these players played in an event that probably only Magic knows about, Squid Storm, which was back in 2017. You know what I was doing back in 2017? I didn't even own a copy of Splatoon 2 or a Switch. And now look at me now, talking to you idiots in chat. That's the only thing I can really find about Spicy Octo Sandwich. is that they got some players that have been a part of this scene way longer than I have ever been. Uh-oh, it's our 6th college team. This is UH Premier, but reduced and with a better name. I don't know about that. I am assuming, a strong assumption, that UH is representing the University of Houston, the Cougars. And Houston, still a little bit of Texas is way too freaking big. Houston, while still being in Texas, is, I believe, still like a 3-hour, maybe 3+ hour drive to Austin, Texas. So it's kind of local, kind of not. But still, you like to see some local college representation. Yet again, even if it's not from the University of Texas, it's from Houston. 2 hours, says our local Texan in chat. Uh-oh. And this is where this tournament comes from being a fun time to a not so fun time. Potentially the best team in the West still is playing in this tournament without any of the usual monsters who can do something to threaten them. The one thing to note is that Bran is playing in this one. This is basically not FT Win from the last time we played in Low Tide, or from Low Tide City. Ice, Biscuit, and Bagel and Keo were the ones playing. So sub out Keo, add in Bran, and all of a sudden you got part of this complete breakfast right here in Starburst. The question is going to be, okay, if they destroy InkTV like we thought they did, then they just roll into this one. They need to destroy this tournament. After what happened in InkTV, they need to come into this one and just beat the daylights out of everybody. It might be therapeutic for them. But there's still some teams that can like kick their shins a little bit and take a game off of them. Blush took a game off the not FT Win last time they played at Low Tide City. Stranger things have happened. Blush is a little bit stronger this time around. Starburst is a lot stronger, though. It's Whitefish Wednesday, you wishful losers. What do I have to say about Whitefish Wednesday? The only thing I can find about these players is this person right here who have their Twitter, and I looked at their Twitter, and they said that they play Carbon Deco. That's the only thing I could find about these guys. Carbon Deco. That's all I got to say about them. What CCA team? This is a CCA team? Is that what you're saying? This team we're looking at right here? What university are they from? It's a UT Dallas picks up? Where does it say? Okay, how am I supposed to know that? Okay, when you guys name yourself Widefish Wednesday and you don't put anything down here in the description, how are we supposed to know? Okay, so there we go. There's team number 7. So UT Dallas making a little bit of a representation. I'll put that in my notes. So if I commentate you guys, I have something to talk about other than you just got a Carbon Deco. UT Dallas. Oh, good. Popcorn. Popcorn, it's from UT Dallas. Yes. This just screams Dallas to me. So there you go. This is why we do these shows live. Part of UFO, part of CTF. None of those letters mean anything to me. You're going to have to explain this to me in person. We're moving on. Kingmaker. Now, Kingmaker did really well, sneakily well, last time at Low Tide City. They made Redemption Bracket, and I believe they went 2-1 in Redemption Bracket, and like whatever tiebreaker Redemption Bracket has prevents you from moving on. It was like Kingmaker just didn't qualify for top 12, but they could have. They very well could have. The theory is that the last time we were at Low Tide City, the venue was in the same room as the Smash Brothers place, and it was all cramped, and it was very loud. And the teams that were playing against the triple Octobrush nonsense that Kingmaker had were complaining about the fact that they couldn't get their vocals out. You got to really, like, there's a brush here, there's a brush at Plaid or something, but when you can't hear your teammates because somebody's popping off on the Smash side, those brushes really blend in well, and it disrupted the communication between their opponents. This time around, though, Splatoon folks got their own room. I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit quieter. It's going to be a little bit easier to call out those brushes. But still, it's nice to see Kingmaker showing back up yet again. Hammer and JoJo, I believe, are not married yet. I think they're still engaged. Could be wrong about that. It'd be the first time I've been wrong. Exhilarating. Should be a pretty strong team here. Bronze, Cannon, Dio, and General Storm. Number 1, by the way. Bronze, as treats lands like they're a merit badge. I believe is by the end of this year, Bronze is probably going to have more roles in the server than me and Falco do. Or I don't know. Probably Falco's probably going to keep even par. No, because we didn't go to Shine, Falco. So Bronze has us already beat out and is going to surpass us even more. I'm not going to be going to Riptide, so yeah, this is just not fair. And Bronze is also my least favorite person to play against because they always beat me in 1-to-1 matchups. So I'm gonna have to just forget all you other three. I'm just gonna fight Bronze in particular. The 52 Eagles. Here we go. Hey, that is stratagem. Man, think about where Jim was at last Low Tide City to where Jim is now. Like, he's a rock star at this point. This is I'm also excited that Jim's coming back here. This is somewhat watercolor to the same extent. There's PTW coming from the deep. I want to say PTW comes from, but these are all actual solid players. The 52 E-Girls, nicely done. Good to see you guys here. Stars Align. Oh my gosh. This is going to be an interesting team. You got old Glitch Cactus. Good to see you. Yes, you were at Big House. We got to meet there. And Fern, we haven't seen Fern in a while. If you haven't met Fern in person, Fern is a character. Expect Fern to dress up as one of these Splatoon idols. And if you haven't heard Sky play competitive Splatoon, you will. Very passionate when they play. Stars Align. We'll see if the stars align in Texas for them. The Sluggish Schlafs. The only player that sticks out to me, this name sounds familiar, but Broshi is on staff for Proving Grounds and is probably a mod for, like, I believe Mel and others as well. Like, Broshi's been around the scene for a while and has made connections with a bunch of people. I'm excited to meet Broshi in person. I didn't realize they were going until I looked this up a little bit later. Big Broshi fans here. Ink Sync. Hey, Doughboy. Ink Sync. Oh, gosh. Ink Sync. Almost disbanded, kind of, but not quite Div 4 team. Land team now, LOL, pretty much. Now, here's my question with Ink Sync. So you got Locke that's coming in here, subbing in for them. You got two Charger players here. They're not going to do double Charger. Now, both these players can flex off of it. Every Charger player on this planet can flex off of it. We understand that now. But, man, we scrimmed against these guys recently. K has increased. The amount of annoyance that K has increased dramatically over the course of the years with their Dapple dualies. Yeah, it's frustrating to play against. But Ink Sync, probably the most consistent. Well, no, Ink Sync as a team didn't really play last time, but Jimmy's been at every single LAN I've been to, dating back to the first Genesis LAN that I went to, the last Genesis LAN. So Ink Sync, very experienced when it comes to LAN settings. 2 more pages to go. Shooting Stars. Is this one of the teams I know absolutely nothing about? Potentially. I think I'm on the back page. Yes, I have here, literally wrote down in my notes when it comes to Shooting Stars, it says nothing. Sorry, Shooting Stars. This could be the Smash player team. I don't know. If anybody knows about that. Are you serious? That's another college team? UT Dallas pickup again? Is the whole university just coming to this? How come no UT Dallas teams could just put like Dallas or UT in their name anywhere? Instead, it's Widefish, Wednesdays, and Shooting Star. We're now up to 8 college teams. We're moving on. Guys, y'all's branding is garbage. Every single one of you. Except for Sonder, because they're an actual team, and we know who Sonder is. This is going to be one of those teams that's contending for that. Mom says it's my turn to have the silver medal. Sonder has been grinding a lot of Proving Ground tournaments. I know they They did beat Cherry Limeade in a game 5 in the InkTV qualifier before Nightmare stomped them down. They beat Ascension too, didn't they? But Sonder is going to be a solid team coming out here, and this looks like the actual Sonder roster. I don't think there's any like one-man sub here. That's the robot from the bad Sonic cartoon. I see you, Toast. Sonder should be... It's going to be them, Smoothie, and one other team I haven't talked about yet that's going to be wrestling for that second place spot. Destiny Troops! Yo, let's go! And I hid my name from start.gg. That's even better. Man, I'm excited. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but I've known Clang since 2019. Z joined our team in right before the pandemic in February 2020, and Daybreak was the last player that we had that joins our team. So this is an actual DT team. We've been scrimming days in +3. Clang is a competitive Salmon Run player, and Z is the best player you guys have never played against, and was in +3 for a little bit. We got a solid team. We're happy. We're excited. I'm just happy to meet these guys in person. I will, at the end of this LAN, I will have met in person every single person that has played for Destiny Troops at any point. I would officially have met in person every single Destiny Troop, current player, active, alum, or retired, or whatever. That for me is exciting. Also, I'm retiring from competitive after this. You cannot be a full-time dad and play a video game competitively. So this is going to be my swan song. And I'm dragging a lot of you guys down to hell with me, including, first off, the one team I want to play more than anybody is the team that Destiny Troops has been playing. No, I haven't met Kaze yet. Shoot. We'll meet Kaze at some point. The team that Destiny Troops has been playing since about 2019. One of our oldest rivals from back that old Div 6 gang with Splat Force and the Reborn Donkey Squids. This is the team I want to be playing against. And this, it seems like one of the better Griller teams that have shown up to a LAN. You got Boshin this time around. Sam has always been a strong player when they play. I don't know much about Kite, but Devi, the Hydra Queen herself. Little Hydra versus Hydra matchup. I want these guys. Come on, T.O., set this one up. I want a piece of these guys for old time's sake. Ink 182. No, dang it. I just blasted my wife's name out there. Shoot, whatever. Ink 182. It is Avril, Miss Pop Gun, Brave WT, and I don't really know who that last player is in particular, but Ink 182, if you need the reference, it is Blink 182 right there. Hey, you doxed yourself. Anybody, literally anybody could pull this up and look this up at this point. It's not like I'm hiding hidden information here. Ink 182 should do pretty good, actually. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I don't want to play that team, though. The last thing I want to do is play my wife at a LAN. That is not a fun time. We played each other in some SAC events back in the day, and there were some memes that went around about that, and it was hilarious unless it wasn't. Espresso plus Storm. Okay, if you want a dark horse to make their way into the second place spot, to get past Cherry Limeade, Smoothie, and Sonder is extremely difficult to do. But if you take the Espresso players and you throw in Storm from Nightmare, you got like your best chance as a dark horse contender for that second place spot. And yeah, this team should do really good. Actually. I'd be surprised if they make redemption bracket. They should qualify right out of that. The Wahoo World poll fans. As you start to look at, this is another team that's like, man, if you just change your name to something else, it'll make yourself a little bit more recognizable rather than stupid Wahoo World poll fans. All of you at some point played or do currently play for Aquatic Vanguard. Just call yourself Aquatic Vanguard or a Schmotic Vanguard or something. Come on, guys. It's literally, okay, it says past, okay, yeah, it says that in the bio. I see that now, past Aquatic Vanguard members plus the future. But still, just call yourself Aquatic Vanguard if that's what you are, because that's what you are. Come on. Oh, SDPU. This has to be a college team, except it's not. It's a low ink pickup. Joe Ryan Pigment, I believe from Photic Zone. Tiger and Drawing, I don't know who that is. But still, these are some low inkish players. Joe Ryan from Outcast Ninjas is going to be playing this one. From Fable, I don't know what that is. Oh wait, no, that was the free agents, the off the dial tournament, wasn't it? Wasn't it? VN and Friends. I know nothing about that, and like half those players are doxing their names, so we're not going to move on there. This could be the Smash team. I know absolutely nothing about them. Sorry, not sorry. VN and Friends. A missed opportunity to go with VN and the Super Chumps, though. Those are the Smash players. There you go. Okay. So here are the Smash players. And if any of you lose to the Smash players, you have to disqualify from the tournament. Show some pride. We don't lose to Smash players. Take the dub. Lost Inklings. Super excited to see these guys. This is one of the oldest teams in the face of the earth. Nobody has played in more Ludi seasons, aside from Day Old Sushi, than Lost Inklings. That is a trivia fact. And I believe this is mostly this. I don't know what their current actual roster is, but this seems to be like mostly this. I believe Teresa has been playing at some of those Smash and Splashes as well. I remember Lycan talking about how they met Teresa at one of those LANs. So this probably isn't like the first time a Lost Inkling team has played at a LAN, but it's the first time since the turn of the decade, at least. Speaking of teams that I want Destiny Troops to play against, oh my gosh, I would love nothing more than to beat the daylights out of these guys. This is one of our older rivals as well from a Ludi season a while ago, Persistence. And they're bringing Neo this time around to go with their annoying brush player and an M. This Persistence team's going to be pretty good, honestly. I think they'll make top 16. I think they'll have to do it through the redemption bracket. But if there's one team that I want to play against, and I know there's going to be, probably be a little bit chirping going on if these guys go up against the right team, because Stormy can be vocal about some things, which we love to see. Love to see a little bit of hypeness going on from Persistence. And it's good to see that they got, they played last time, but there was more of a Persistence pickup. This time they got mostly their actual roster, or at least actual Persistence level of players in the past. Here we go. This team, aka, as some would call, the Flying Dutchman, as our old pals are coming across the ocean. Oceanos. My favorite cereal. Coming in from Europe. I believe all three of those no, actually no. Obese Tyrese is not from Europe. But the Moo, Wug, and Mr. Lee coming in from across the seas to show us Yanks how to play competitive Splatoon. They're actually going to be pretty good. And they won't have to deal with jet lag, will they? Because they're losing time going back. If they have to play later, they might be a little bit caught off guard because it'd be later for them back home. They're going to get more issues going back, but I think they'll be fine. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're traveling against the time zone, you're going to be fine when you land. Jet lag works both ways. Well, I wouldn't know. What do I know? 5 more teams. Have I spent 45 minutes on this segment? Jesus. Oh, we get to the actual really strong teams along the way right here as well. Did I not mention Last Resort when I was talking about teams that make second? Whatever. Let's go down the line. Okay. I said Espresso plus Storm would be the dark horse. No. This team's the more dark horses than that team. This team, especially Ink Bashers, Woomy, and Baja. Actually, Chris and Soon. Is this the same exact roster that finished second place in SOS 7? It mostly is, actually. Baha Wumi and Chris. They just don't have the Splatling player Rydia to go along with them. This team's going to be good. this team is going to be really good. I would probably I definitely say they're above the Ty Uster plus Storm pickup, but that's the match you would want to see on stream at some point. If like Essence and the Ty Uster Espresso conglomeration plus Storm were to play, that's a match you would want to put up on stream. But this team's going to be doing really good. Cherry Limeade. The whole team, all four of their players, I mean, it's not that whole team. Cherry Limeade has something here that only one other team has. A LAN tournament victory underneath your belt. This team, I believe this same combination of four players, is the reigning Shine Splatoon champions. Maybe the only team to ever win Shine Splatoon. They didn't finish in second place in the last Low Tide City, but I feel like they're going to do a lot better this time around. Lily did not play for them last time. Lily played for the Fish and Chips team, now back on their actual roster. Last Resort. The clear-cut favorite to finish in second place in this tournament to Starburst. Chara, Arashi, Slacker, and Storm Hero going to be taking their crack at things. As long as you got Chara, Arashi, and Storm Hero, you're good to go. Slacker, I believe, is their coach, I want to say, but they were screaming with them, at least last night, with Smoothie. On paper, Last Resort is the second best team here. That doesn't mean they're going to finish in the second place spot. There's a lot of teams, the Smoothies, the Espressos, the Essence, the Cherry Limeades, the Saunders, that are all going to be wanting a shot at them. But it's still good that a team like Last Resort's caliber is here. The fact that the overall skill level from last Low Tide City to this one is much higher is a good thing. Yes, Grand Finals is still going to be a curb stomp, but at least the path up to Grand Finals is still going to be more interesting than seeming just like an SAC, invitational with the grand prize being a free ass whooping to FT win. Two more teams to go through here. Delta coming back. Delta was at the last Low Tide City event. Nice to see Delta there. And Delta's got some nice friends to go along here. This is a square up and see ya pickup, as the name is indicated right here. This is another Dark Horse team, by the way. These see ya players, especially Luna and Luples, the Splatling player, or at least I saw him play Splatling before. These two players are really strong, and I think people are starting to recognize that now, and they're going to do really good at this lane, especially combined with these two players. Yum's going to be a solid team. Last but certainly not least is Acropora, and I apparently the only person on this planet that knows how to pronounce that correctly. Acropora is going to be playing here, and this is the actual Acropora roster, including Seekit, who was at the last Low Tide City, as was Skep. I think Mothman and Rush weren't there last time as well. So Acropora, I believe they banned themselves from Low Inc. We never officially banned them, but they said, screw it. We're going to move on to grind some SAC stuff they're playing in this one. Acropora played, not the same exact roster, but Acropora did play at Shine underneath that name of Acropora, so it's nice to see that going in there. Undershirt Man, thank you for the raid. You came at the one time where I was about to lead. I literally talked about you a little bit earlier. I went over the every single team that played in Low Tide City, and obviously your team is listed there. I'll see you, Undershirt Man, in 5-6 days. So if anyone's just now joining with the raid, you're about to be raided off somewhere else. But feel free to check the VOD if you're going to Low Tide City or talk about InkTV. And if you care about anything competitive Splatoon, you're at the right place. And if you don't, I don't like you either. So that works out just fine. It's been an hour and a half. I got other things to do this week. Let's wrap this up. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out. My socials below. Twitter, Mr_Popgun. Discord, Popgun, hashtag 5882. YouTube at 25. Popgun. Twitch at Popgun25. Anchor.fm/Popgun. I can't raid Undershirt Man because they have just raided me. So who am I going to raid instead? I don't know. Thank you for all the... Oh, let's go to Rose. That makes sense. Stay safe this weekend. Safe travels to everybody going to Low Tide City. Make sure you guys check it out. Watch the event. And go Destiny troops. To hell with everyone else.